Welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. So Arsenal completed the task. We went away at Tottenham Hotspur, won by a goal to nil without Declan Rice and without Martin Odegaard. But the good news is that Declan Rice returns. Martin Odegaard is still out for quite some time. He could be ready for the Manchester City game. He could be not, but we are certain he won't play against Atalanta. The big news is that Mikel Merino has actually got his hand out of his cusp, and therefore he's getting closer and closer to coming back. So there's a big possibility that as Odegaard returns, we shall have Mikel Merino as well. But before those two come back, we don't have conclusive reports on when they're going to be back. Mikel Merino, it's a couple of weeks, a couple of months probably. And with Martin Odegaard, we were told it's going to take around 7 games. We've only gone one of the 7 games. So it's still a lot of work to do. It's still a lot of games to play. Now, I think the key lesson that we got from the Tottenham Hotspur game was that Arsenal have become inevitable, and I think this is one of the things that I learned out of the weekend. We don't have so many inevitable teams in the Premier League, but also in Europe right now. Apart from Madrid, Man City, I think those are the 2 teams that I would certainly say are 100% inevitable in Europe, but also at home. But when we consider the Premier League alone, Arsenal are inevitable, and I think we have reached a point where every single team has got to worry about Arsenal, regardless of who's not playing, regardless of which players we are missing. Arsenal have now got that inevitability about them. They can win, and they will win unless otherwise. I mean, against Brighton, yes, Brighton played a very good game, and I was surprised that they didn't score over the weekend against Ipswich, honestly. But they played a very good game, especially when we were a man down. But it always felt like Arsenal could have won that game. Kai Havertz had a glorious chance to Barry in order for us to win the game. And he also had a glorious chance to, make a good pass to Saka, who could have, won the game for us as well. So we are inevitable now. And I expect Arsenal to go and put in a good result against Atalanta. I mean, against Tottenham, it wasn't the best performance. It was the best result you could hope for. And I said this and I'll say it again. With or without Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard, playing away at Spurs early in the season, that is not easy. I don't think Arsenal have really settled in into the season the way Man City have. I think City this season, this campaign, they're the only team that you can say they have really settled in, right? What they want to do is to win the Premier League, and their strategy and what they're doing right now reflects what they want to do, which is to win the Premier League. Arsenal, yes, we want to win the Premier League. Yes, we want to push City, but according to the first 4 games, apart from keeping 3 clean sheets out of those 4, I'm not convinced that we are on course to stop Manchester City. So Declan Rice returns ahead of Atalanta, also ahead of the Manchester City game. And why is this so important? Why is this so crucial for us? First and foremost, I think Partey and Jorginho in midfield, it doesn't work. I'm sorry. I try to support that pair. I try to, watch them positively. I try to see it in a different kind of light. Probably, what I was looking for was, can I see some kind of symmetry between Jorginho and Partey? Can I see Jorginho maybe be kind of turn into a number 8, or Partey turn into a number 8? Can we see those interesting ball progressive runs from any of them? No, we actually didn't. So that's why Declan Rice returning is actually very important for us. The reason that's why it's very important is without Odegaard in the team, you have one natural ball progressor, and that is Rice. Very good at dribbling. He's so adept to playing in that number 8 position, and I think henceforth, because we don't have Odegaard, we are going to be playing with a double pivot. We're not going to be playing with a single pivot of Partey and then 2 number 8s. We're going to be playing with a number 6 and a number 8, and then possibly maybe Leandro Trossard playing as a number 10, something like that. So Declan Rice returning to this team is very crucial while we miss Merino and while we miss Odegaard, because now we have a guy that can pick up the ball from deeper areas and just progress it. So at least half of the problems have been solved, half of the task has been done. With Declan Rice, we are not going to struggle to move the ball high up the pitch. We are going to struggle to figure out how do you penetrate the opposition back line, the opposition defensive line. How do you play that quite maybe invasive pass, that smart pass that breaks down the back line? That is the problem. That is now the work we have to do. So that is why Rice is important, because with Rice, you have a player you can trust to give the ball and let him just drive, right? And I think we're going to see again. The first part of the task was, can you go and win away at your rivals Tottenham Hotspur without two of your best midfielders? And we actually did that. So what we saw was Jorginho and Partey. None of them is willing to get that ball and be with it for at least 1 minute, maybe driving, or 30 seconds driving. Each of them wants to pick up the ball and then pass it on. So with Declan Rice, whether you're playing Atalanta or Manchester City, he's going to be very crucial. He's going to be very, very crucial. The second reason as to why Rice is crucial for us: Atalanta are pressing monsters, and they are also very good on the break, but also very good in terms of attacking. The likes of Ademola Lookman, we know how dangerous they can be. So you need a player that can deal with runners like Lookman. You need a guy in that midfield that can support Thomas Partey in winning the ball back, but also in creating very neat defensive solutions. That is Declan Rice. And that's why I think him coming back against Atalanta and against Man City, it gives us a massive advantage for me against Atalanta. I don't think it really gives us an advantage over City. And I think with City, we're going to talk about that game, but it's still very complicated. It's still very, very complicated, with City being high in form and Arsenal being unsure of the start that we actually wanted to have. It's not as easy, right? But Rice's return is going to be a key that allows us to win against Atalanta for me, and then hope that we can get or grab a point against Man City. Now, let's talk about the two games that are coming up, because they're very important for us this campaign. Very important. I believe that the Champions League has more or less become like the Premier League. And I think the Champions League is going to be even very, very difficult and more competitive. This is why. So think about this, guys. The Champions League is now one big table, and you're playing 8 games. So it means, should you fail to win 4 out of those 8, you are definitely not among the teams that are going to qualify automatically to the round of 16. You will be among the teams that either have to go through a playoff to go to the round of 16, or you're out. So it is very, very little games, right? And this is why the Champions League is very complicated as compared to the Premier League. It is few games. It's not a marathon, right? It's not a marathon. If it's a marathon, it's a baby marathon. It's a mini marathon. And this is dangerous. I'll tell you why. So with the Premier League, this is why it's a big advantage, right? To have 38 games. You can have the first maybe 10 games, 15 games, not good, bubbling up and here and there. And then you finish off well, the way Manchester City and Arsenal did last campaign, right? We finished off well. Out of 18 games, Arsenal won 15. I think we drew 1 and lost 1 or something like that. So that is it. That is it. But in the Champions League, for example, Arsenal, let's use our club. We have Atalanta, we have Sporting, we have PSG, and we have Girona. Those are 4 very, very tricky fixtures where, you can actually drop points. Oh, we have Inter Milan. 5 fixtures where you are capable of dropping points, and then you touch your head and you're like, oh yeah, this is not as good as we expected, right? So 5 games that are very difficult, 5 games that are putting us in a very tight position, and therefore it means that you've got to beat some of the tough opponents if you want to qualify for the round of 16. So that's why this is very tricky. And I tell you, for me, Atalanta, I would equate, I don't know if this is right, but I would equate Atalanta to Brighton. I'm sorry to say this, right? I'm sorry to say this. I would equate Atalanta to Brighton. I would equate Inter Milan to, I think Inter are a quality side better than Tottenham, aren't they? So we could equate Inter to Liverpool. I could equate Sporting Lisbon to maybe, I think they're better than Crystal Palace, with all due honesty. Maybe what, Newcastle? Or maybe, okay, Tottenham? I don't know. So it's going to be difficult. It's actually difficult games for us to play. Very difficult games for us to play. And we are dealing with an ultimatum. That is why this Atalanta game is very important. Go and fail to beat Atalanta, and then your next game in the Champions League on October the 1st is PSG, and you have Inter Milan coming your way. You'll understand what real pressure means. Manchester City away. After beating Tottenham, Manchester City should have been a lighter game. But this is why Manchester City is not a lighter game, even after beating Tottenham. Now, beating Tottenham meant a lot to the squad in terms of confidence, in terms of why, I think believe we can do this with or without Rice and Odegaard. But why this Man City game is scary and why it is so important is we have dropped points against a Brighton side that failed to beat Ipswich. We have dropped points against a Brighton side that Man City will beat 100%. There will be no shockers. There will not be any surprises. Man City will beat Brighton. So where do you get those 2 points? And I think Mikel always says that when you drop 2 points or 3, you've got to find them somewhere. And for me, I still believe the 2 clubs that Arsenal have to look at, like determinants of the Premier League, Liverpool and City. So we either have to beat Liverpool and pray that City fail to beat Liverpool either away or home. And that means we have to beat Liverpool home and away. Or we've got to do the job ourselves and beat Man City. That's number 1. Number 2, City are 2 points ahead of Arsenal. The gap will become 5 if we dare drop points against Man City. The gap would become 5 points. So that means that earlier on in the season, Man City have a 5-point gap, 5-point advantage on you. Are you catching them? Yes, you can. They can play Liverpool and Newcastle. They can play Liverpool and any other team. But it doesn't mean you won't drop points. So for me, this game is important. And if Mikel ever managed a draw, I remember he managed a draw in the first game, in the last game we played with them, 0-0. This is the game where we need that 0-0. I don't care if Liverpool go on top of the table because I know we can beat Liverpool home and away. But this game is a no-lose game. Like, Mikel Arteta must know we can't afford to lose to City. Regardless of what happens, we can't afford to lose to them. So that is our week. That is our week. In terms of my predictions, I will do previews and I'll give you my thoughts on them. But in terms of what I think about the Atalanta game, I think Arsenal, if we work harder than Atalanta, we'll beat them. I think I do like Atalanta because they give you a way of beating them, and it's never easy to beat them. All you have to do is to work harder than them. Never an easy job, right? It's never an easy job because they work hard, they run a lot, and they press like absolute monsters. That's how they won the Europa League against a very organized Leverkusen side. But I want to say, and I'm going to say this, if we work harder than Atalanta, we shall beat them. Manchester City, still too early for me to commit myself. I still want to see the team news. I still want to see who is available. Is Zinchenko coming back? Is maybe Odegaard having a chance? And then I'll give my prediction. But I still think Man City, with the kind of form they're in, I won't be surprised for them to do a job on us. I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying I won't be surprised. But that will depend on how we prepare. I think the fact that we're playing on a Thursday and a Sunday. When are Manchester City playing? Let me see. Let me just check. Right? When are City playing in the Champions League? Because that is also I can confirm they're not playing tomorrow on Tuesday. Everybody, you can smile. Oh, they're playing on a Wednesday and they're playing at home against Inter Milan. Okay. They have a massive advantage, don't they? They're at home. Now, I don't know. I don't know. Like, why aren't we playing on Wednesday or Tuesday? Okay, we played on Sunday. Why aren't we playing on Wednesday, then Sunday again? Because Manchester City, yes, they played on a Saturday, and they're playing on a Sunday. This is like a massive advantage to them, honestly. Anyway, guys, that's it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well, and we'll talk soon.